Freedom!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Excuse me, you cannot vote. Is there a problem, ma'am? Yes, felony disenfranchisement.
What does it mean to be American? To be American means having the right to vote. A directly elected government is one that has the approval of the people. The right to vote encourages civic consciousness because it stimulates political participation, and the citizens will thus keep tabs and checks on the political leaders and the government. This constant scrutiny helps the people make informed decisions about whom to vote for in the next term. Historically, many groups were excluded from voting. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote, and that was just 50 years ago. Still today, there are groups excluded from voting. Felony disenfranchisement is the exclusion from voting of people otherwise eligible to vote due to conviction of a criminal offense. Proponents have argued that persons who commit felonies have broken the social contract and have thereby given up their right to participate in civil society. Some argue that felons have shown poor judgment and that they should, therefore, not have a voice in the political decision-making process. However, the 15th Amendment states that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on the account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Felons who have served their time for serious class crimes have already faced the consequences of their actions, and life is difficult when transitioning back to society. Being excluded from the right to vote should not be added onto the challenges felons face after they have served their time. This form of punishment is unjust.
What are your views towards felony disenfranchisement? Do you support it? If you do or don't support it, can you please explain why?
I think if someone has committed a crime and the courts gave them a punishment and they served their punishment and they did their time and they were released and everything is above board and they're trying to become productive members and active members and participating members of society again, I don't understand why we take that right away from them. So they can't vote when they're in jail? Okay, but now they're out. Why can't they vote? And I think that has to do with voter suppression. We would assume a lot of them are Democrats. And who's trying to keep them off the voter registries but the GOP?
So if there was something to change about the whole felony disenfranchisement thing, what would you change?
Exactly that. If I have served my time and did it fairly, I played by the rules. If you still, now I go back into society and I get a job and I pay my taxes and you're going to tax me and I'm going to be just like everybody else, why can't I vote like everybody else? So I think that's really where we need to start.
What about the degree to which the crimes they have been punished for?
Well, if their punishment was that bad, they'd probably still be in jail, right?
So to which demographic does felony disenfranchisement affect the most or least?
I would say people of color. And I would say most of the people, and statistically speaking, I could be wrong, so I hope somebody does a fact check, but I would say a lot of the people who are people of color usually vote Democratic. You do find a handful that are Republican, of course, and I think that this is all kind of stacked against them, and they can't win even when they play by the rules. Yes, they broke the rules. We're not losing sight of the fact that they committed a crime, but they paid their debt to society. How about we give them a chance to come back into and be part of society? And voting makes people feel like their voice counts. And when people feel like their voice counts, they take a more active role in society and they're less likely to watch it crumble. At least we hope.
So last question. So do you think felony disenfranchisement hinders the opportunity of representation of minorities?
Absolutely, because we think they're criminals or they're minorities or they're Democrats, so, we don't care, right? And if you look at what's been going on, look at where it's all happening, look at the states where it's happening, where all of this voter suppression is going on. This is just a small piece of that. This felony disenfranchisement, in my opinion, is just a bigger piece of the voter disenfranchisement puzzle, voter suppression puzzle.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sandri.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Believe people in prison are not pro-criminal in favor of crimes and things like that. They mostly recognize they're being punished for the harm that they did. They understand the laws of society. This is not a criminal's voting block, as some people portray it.
A difficult one. Opinions have often succeeded in delaying or undermining efforts to move our Commonwealth forward, but in the end, progress has always prevailed. This time will be no different. Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton also weighed in on this, tweeting, "Proud of my friend Governor McAuliffe for continuing to break down barriers to voting," in a tweet she signed herself in April.
And we're not going to permit you to participate in the electoral process. Now, this is a very harmful moment, I think, not only for the person, but for society. It's in our interest when people come home from prison that they engage in productive activities in the community. We want them to feel some stake in the outcome of their community. And we say to them, we don't want you to participate in the electoral process, a fundamental element of democracy. I don't see where that helps anybody in terms of public safety issues, let alone democracy.